Okay, I just wanted to talk to you about what I think is the right way to study maths. So I just chose sets because I thought that if I went with like a leaving cert higher level topic, that it wouldn't be accessible to students in second or third year, whereas obviously sets, it's one of the first things we do in first year. So you have your book, and in your book, we always include the you should remember and the keywords. Okay? So the you should remember, I don't know, unless there's something you don't know, I'd be going through and going, do I understand what a whole number is? Do I understand what an even number is? I do. So I know a whole number is a number that has no decimal points. I know an even number is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc., etc. I know an odd number is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. Now, I come to square number and I'm like, don't really remember what a square number is. So, I mean, you can Google it. You can go look back through different chapters and see can you find it. It's probably quicker to Google it. So I wasn't sure about this. So what I'm going to do is bring it into my notes. This is the you should remember part. And I didn't remember square numbers. So I've now Googled square numbers. And I know that square numbers are 1, 4... 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, etc. Okay, so now I know what square numbers are. So I add it to my notes, and then I go back here, and prime numbers, I know what prime numbers are. They have 2 factors. Okay, so then I come down to my keywords. So this is what I learned in this chapter. Okay, so the first thing is sets. So this should be in order of how it appears in the chapter. So you can see literally like here, it tells you what a set is. So again, I would go along the lines of like, could you have come up with that definition like before looking at it? If that's the case, I wouldn't go writing it down. It means you already know it. It's already in your long-term memory. If you don't know it, then you need to write it down. So we go in here. So this is the key words from this chapter. So I have set, and a set is a well-defined well-defined collection of objects. And do I know what that means? Because sometimes with maths language, it's a bit like complicated. So do I know what I mean by well-defined? I don't know, so something like it has to be clear. Maybe an example might help. Even numbers between 1 and 10. So that is a clear, defined set, whereas a not well-defined set would be, do you remember, like good websites, whatever. Okay, so make sure you write it down and then make sure that you understand it. And just to be clear, that you remember a lot more of what you write than what you read. So it is good practice to write it down. It doesn't need to be done super neat. You can do it like, messy, just scribble it down. It's the act of writing it. Now, if you could make one set of decent notes in your own handwriting, it just means you've something to refer back to. So that's handy. So I'll do one more. I'm not going to do the whole chapter. So next one is element. So if I scroll down, I should come across element. Here it is. Okay, so element has a symbol. So we'd write down the symbol maybe. So the second keyword was element. The symbol for element was this. The symbol for not an element was this. And then do you understand what an element is? So 6 is an element of 2, 4, 6, 8, because 6 is in the set. So I understand what an element is. Yeah? So you keep working through them, through all your keywords, and you create a set of notes. Okay? It is literally like that process will probably take you maybe a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes to go through that chapter and pull out all the key pieces. Yeah? So the next thing I would do, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this now, hang on. So the next thing I would do is cover, maybe I'll just do it really messy. So with a piece of paper or something, I'd like cover this side. So all you can see is the words on the left. And then test yourself. So you should now know what a square number is. Do you know what a square number is? You should now know what a set is. Do you know what a set is? An element, and so on and so forth. Okay? You can test yourself, or you could get, like if you could go downstairs and your mom or your dad or your brothers or sisters or whatever, if there was somebody in the house who could test you. So you hand them your notes and they say to you, right, tell me what a set is. So it can be handy to have that like accountability where somebody's actually asking you the questions and you have to answer them and they say, oh yeah, you know what a set is, but you still don't know what an element is. Do you know what I mean? And then the other thing with maths is I always feel that maths has two parts. So the first part is, do you know what to do? So you're presented with a question. Do you know what to do? And the second part is, can you do it? And in my experience, this part isn't really the problem. Okay, can you do it? For the most part, that's the bit that students focus on. Okay, so by doing all of this study, all of this stuff, that helps with, do you know what to do? So if you know all the keywords from a chapter and things like that, and then the question says, list all the prime numbers between 6 and 20. If you haven't studied what a prime number is, then you don't know what to do. Factorize the quadratic equation. If you don't know what factorizing is, if you don't know what a quadratic equation is, then you can't do the question. Now, if I told you, oh, that's the one where we use the guide number, you would probably be able to do the yellow circle. You would probably be able to do it. But the issue is you didn't know what to do. And that's where this keyword study comes in. Okay, so do the keyword study. That will help you with knowing what to do with a question, because you'll understand the keywords, you'll understand the language, you'll understand the verbs. You'll know what the question is asking. Now, the yellow side, can you do it? This is the bit that students generally do well in maths. So this is where you practice questions. Okay, so depending on your level, as in if you're in first year, then go back in here. Go into the book. Oh, sorry. I always include questions from the book. So pick a random few. I would always suggest do maybe the first one, because it's always a nice little starter, and then go straight and try the last one. Something like that. See how you get on. Move on. And again, here's another section. Maybe try the first one and the last one. So on and so forth. Now, the book does have revision questions at the end of every chapter. I don't have them included in OneNote, but obviously you have the book at home, so you could do that. If you are in third or sixth year, then the practice questions really should come from the papers. So either your papers or if you have a StudyClix account, you can go straight onto the SEC website. So any of them, but if you're in an exam year, really that's what you should be doing. So if you're, I would say first or second year, you can focus on the book. But like third, I would say even fifth and sixth, try and use exam papers. By all means, use a combination, but use exam papers. Okay, so don't neglect the pink circle. take the half hour or 40 minutes to go through the keywords, to explain them, and probably another 15 minutes to test yourself or have someone test you on them. That is a key part of maths that a lot of students miss out. Then on the other side is the practice. That's the bit I feel students do. They practice. But one without the other is not going to be successful. You need both. Okay? They are my top tips for studying maths.